Hello again. You're welcome to yet another episode of the Youth Empowered Podcast brought to you by the Nigerian Bottling Company. Now, here we keep it real about what it takes to not just survive, but thrive in Nigeria, from money, career, entrepreneurship, and everything in between. Each episode, we bring you conversations with people who have been there and done that. So whether you're hustling through school, building your first business, or figuring out this thing called life, this podcast is for you. My name is Moses Dickson, and I'll be your host for today. Welcome back to the Youth Empowered Podcast brought to you by the Nigerian Bottling Company. If you joined us last week, we talked about how shift happens, how to make your next winning move. Now, today we'll talk about what you need to not only make that shift, but of course, thrive in the shift that you make. Today's theme is money and adulting, building your financial future. And of course, as per the usual, we've been joined by fantastic guests today. In fact, I've learned so much off the air. Now it's your turn to join me and enjoy on the air. So joining us today, we have Oluwatoyin Aralepo, a financial powerhouse who's managed billion-dollar portfolios and still mentors thousands of small businesses today. You're welcome, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Definitely. It's our pleasure. And we also have Jennifer Awirigwe, also known as Financial Jennifer. And of course, from the name, you can already tell that she's into a lot of money moves. She's the founder of FinTribe, the largest women-only finance community in Nigeria. In fact, she's your money cheerleader. You're welcome.
Thank you, Moses. Always a pleasure. And then this youth was empowered by this woman. So you can understand my...
So now you can understand.
Oh, I'm really excited.
We're all honored to be in your presence, ma'am. So let me just start with the first thing. No matter how far the journey has progressed, no matter how long it's going to take, it always begins with the first move. As young people or people alive in Nigeria today, we always wonder, is it too late to start? What do we do? Where do we go? What's the first move? So what is the first money memory that shaped how you see finances today?
Thank you so much, Moses, and thank you for having me and my beautiful Jennifer here. So just looking back, I remember those days when we have visitors and, they give us gifts most of the time in cash. After the visitor has left, you are asked, where's that money? Go and put it in your kolo. Those days we had what is now known as
piggy bank.
Exactly. Then it was somewhere in form of clays, somewhere wooden. Exactly. So you are asked to keep your money there. You don't spend immediately. And that was how I started learning about delayed gratification, not spending immediately. And those days, during Christmas, so you feel that joy that there's something that is waiting for you. And sometimes you would have even lost count, right? Until you break into the colo. Yes, your investment. And you start packing the cash and counting. And then maybe you then decide, what do you want? And, during festive period, you get to have new shoes, new dresses. You have that time to take care of yourself to an extent. So that was what really shaped my money knowledge. Exactly. And one other thing, then when I was in the secondary school, I know how to make hair, right? To weave hair. So I started making money even before I entered the university. I had to stop. Exactly. It's not be today. So I started at an early age to handle money. Okay. That sense of responsibility and being a first child. So many people are looking up to you, so you better don't mess up. So those were some of the memories that I can remember.
I think key takeaways from that would be people think that the ability to make money or the act of making money is sometimes nature versus nurture. From what you said, I think it's both, basically.
Yes, it is.
So adding to what she said, right now you lead thousands of women in finance, and then you also said something along the lines of, I need to teach money differently. What's all that?
at a point you realize that, I think for me, back then it was the fact that there were people really talking about finance, of course, but somehow for many of us, it wasn't really connecting to the language we understand, to the realities we understand. I'm an investment professional, I'm in the finance space. And you see that a lot of times we in the industry get very caught up with the big grammars. We're talking about the MPR, the annualized yield. And every day man was like, what the hell? What are they talking about? Do you understand? So, and you see that a lot of women, I'm big on women. Men, you have money, so.
Wow. Okay.
So it's not as if we don't want to do better, but we don't know how, right? People are talking about it, but I don't understand what you mean. So then I'm like, okay, because it started as a personal struggle. Yeah, I was struggling with my own personal finance as well, because even though I was just an accountant, I was still doing nonsense. To tell you that it's not even about what you are or who you are if you don't make that decision to do this thing. So what I did was, instead of, okay, to an extent, I understand these things. How do I communicate it in a way that my sister that makes hair on the street, the lady that does POS, she understands what we are talking about, right? So now I can come out and tell you that, okay, like you say ROI, not everybody, ROI. I may not know what you say or what they mean. But if I say, when you put down your 1,000 and you will get 100 naira on top, you see that 100 naira is like free money. They'll be like, oh, is that what you mean? Do you understand? So now you're saying the same thing, but in a way others can relate to. And that's the word. Simplified, relatability. I think that's the selling power for me. That's what our women has come to relate to. Oh, Jennifer, yeah, I understand what you mean and all that. That way, now we have thousands of women doing things they didn't do before, not because they didn't want to, but they didn't understand what we are saying. Yeah. So yeah, it's breaking down that jargon, professional, this thing, to come down to the level everyone understands, and it's been a winning strategy.
Okay, wow. It does seem that at some point there was a turning point in the way you thought before anything began to materialize physically.
Sure.
I like the fact where you said delayed gratification was what kind of put you on the path towards managing money better. Many young people today, their first experience with anything called salary or wage is NYSC. I want to believe most people share similar experiences. So how did you survive on that? How did you, use that to the best of your ability?
When I did my NYC, that was 1998. I think NYC was paying about 3,002.
Gen Z's cannot.
Now it's about 77,000. Wow.
But then, and I served in UBA. UBA was paying additional, I think 5,000 naira at that point in time. So for me, what really, my background, I already spoke about that. I learned contentment, delayed gratification, and that sense of responsibility was already in me. So my NYC salary, I was able to save. And then, the cost of living was not as high as this. Inflation was not as high as this. So some of the things that I did then, I made sure I was not living above my means. I recall some of my colleagues then, even before the salary, they are already in debt. So they are always purchasing in advance. Right? So when the salary comes in, they have to keep paying back
all the debt.
So for me, when I get the salary, I already have, okay, how much am I going to spend on food? How much? Then we had accommodation, right? Free accommodation. Transportation, I was not living very far from the office then. So it was easy a bit for me. And you won't even believe it then. I was even still sending some money back home. Right?
At that point.
Yeah, at that point in time, I'm a first child, and that sense of responsibility it's been there over the years. So those were some of the things that helped me. But most importantly, you just need to live within your means. And some of the lessons today, and I tell people, when your income is growing at the speed of an antelope, your expenses need to be like a snail. They must
marble.
never match.
Words on marble.
Yes. Otherwise,
Snail.
it will create problem.
To crash.
Then you become disorganized with your income. I don't want to say broke, because that's a different thing.
Conversation.
Yes.
Together. So when your income is at the speed of an antelope, your expenditure should be that of a snail.
Snail.
Please never catch up, please.
I'm liking this, miss, right? Here we have the smart money woman. And here, so during my youth service, not all of us were that wise. Many of us were still doing anyhow with our money, right? Even after youth service, post youth service, you started working, and oh my God, I'm not earning a salary, right? You felt like you have arrived, and before you know it, 1 month later, if 2 weeks, 2 weeks later, you are back to square one.
Sometimes not even 2 weeks, to be honest.
Do you understand? So I wasn't that opportunity. I didn't have that kind of sense back then, honestly. And then you realize that, this money I'm making, at a point, you now have to sit yourself down. Jennifer, for me, when I was serving, it was like 1995. Yeah, then after youth service, my first job then was 50K, right? And I was still struggling. Now, that brings me to say, with you, it was 3K and you were fine. Me was 19.5, I was still struggling. You see, it's not even a function of necessarily how much, but how we manage it, right? So when I now realize that, I have to do better. Because back then, from the youth service, I was already struggling. I got my first job, earning more. I was still struggling. That will tell you that something is wrong. And if you are not careful, you remain in the rat race. You said something about people will borrow money before the salary comes. By the time it comes, you are using it to pay the old debt.
Exactly.
You borrow again. And again and again. The circle of poverty
That's
continues.
steaming and lading in banking.
I was like many of us, so I was doing anyhow with the money until God delivered us. Thanks to people like you that we now started learning from. So honestly, for a lot of people at that level, you are not alone. Because I did the same. But if I'm able to correct that and start doing better, hopefully by the time we progress in the conversation, we are going to touch on that. Because another thing I did was this money was not enough. I have to look for other things to do.
That's exactly where we're going.
Exactly.
Making more money. Now that we've touched on the struggles. But before we move on, are you also a first child?
Am I?
A firstborn.
First daughter.
First daughter.
First daughter.
I wanted to check something. I wanted to check something. Okay.
In the same WhatsApp group.
Okay. So yes, I'm glad you moved on in the conversation, because that's the next thing. Now that we've identified the problem, the habits that we have that lands us in problem, your expenditure moving faster than your income. Now, how do we make that money? Because there are so many things that come. Even though you have the right intentions, there's rent, there are bills, there are black tax, there's pressure. And right now, people are thinking, okay, the issues will never leave because you're not the only one in the world that suffers. How do we now make more money? You mean digital income? Is it multiple streams? What has worked for you personally when it comes to, at least increasing your credit base?
So for me, I started working since 99. I got my first job 99, and I've been working till date. Okay. So what has really worked for me, I spoke about that. Planning is very important on what you need to do. Then we didn't have a lot of opportunities of making digital. In fact, when I started working, there was no GSM, right? So we were a bit restricted to our salary at that point in time. Around 20, and I also did not start early, right? I was just focused on my work. And that is to say that it's not just about entrepreneurship. People are saying, sometimes a salary is what they pay you to forget I don't
your
even
dreams.
believe dreams. I don't believe in that, because I've been a career person in the corporate for over 23 years. And I've been successful at that. And I focused on my salary, at the point in time. So managing money is extremely important. So it's not just about how much you are earning, but what are you doing with what you are earning, right? Okay. And that has to do with behavior. Because if you don't manage your funds properly becomes a problem. But around 2018, I started the digital journey, so to speak. It was in 2018 that, I was deliberate in setting up structure, joining some industry network and associations like WIMBIs, Women in Finance. I was deliberate. Then by 2020, when COVID happened, I think that opened up the entire world, right? It was a crisis. It was a pandemic, but it opened up a lot of opportunities. And I spoke about this earlier, that was the time I devoted time to learning. Because at some point, you unlearn and relearn. I learned digital marketing. I learned how to make sales. I got a coach for myself, visibility coach, right? Because when you're not visible as well, the same way you look at brands, you need to start asking yourself, what is your top of mind awareness as a person, right? Do people know you? Do they like you? Do they trust you? Because if all those don't happen, so I started, just getting myself, I started my visibility journey. Now I started speaking, webinars, those are some of the ways that you can make money, right? Digital products, you have ebooks. In the process, I wrote a physical book. I automated the sale and I'm still selling, right? Mm-hmm. So those are some of the ways that you can start making money. But you need to make sure that, as a career person, it must not interfere with your 9 to 5. So you need to apply wisdom. You need to understand what works for you, but there are a number of opportunities. And I know she will also tell you, more about that.
Since you mentioned something about digital, I think off the air we talked about how you seem to be leveraging all the technological advancements of the day.
I tell everyone we are in the best times. Mama T said back when she started work, there was no GSM. Okay. Can you comprehend that? Many of us cannot relate, right?
Not to the slightest.
So, we've gotten to the point where our phone is beyond just scrolling. Mm-hmm. It's now the new economy. Yeah. It's now the new office. Let me tell you something. I work a 9 to 5 as an investment banker, right? And by rating, that's like one of the toughest work around the world. But the money I make from my phone, social media, the same social media all of us are on, how do I put it? Okay, let me use one example. I once had a product or a class, sometime last month or thereabouts. The money I made from that, if I compare it with my salary from that work that is after my life, it may take me like 3 years to make the same money from a 2-3 hours class. Honestly. Social media. How? Okay, let me just paint the different pictures, the ways I personally have leveraged social media, leveraged the internet. I remember back in the day, there was a time I did social media management. You mentioned COVID. COVID was actually a sort of blessing to some people. To some people, yeah. Because it opened a new economy, right? So back then, I used to be active on Facebook. I talk to people about, there is this divide. Those on Facebook, they know to send Instagram people.
Like that.
Two different worlds. And Instagram people, they'll be like Facebook people, ancient of days. That kind of a thing. And then here I was selling hair back then. Another side hustle. Yeah. Drop shipping. I was selling hair on Instagram. It was doing well. So now I come to Facebook. I tell them there is a lot of opportunities. So I'm making posts. Oh, this is how you can post on Instagram. This is how you can get followers. All of that. Gradually, people will now come to you. Jennifer, this thing. Or can you manage the page for me? Okay. Why not? Another side hustle. I'm like, cool. So COVID happened and I had like up to 4 pages I was managing for people in addition to what I was doing on my own, right? That was one. Because there are a lot of vendors, they don't have time. Mama T, you're active on social media. I don't know how you do that because you're all over the world. She's trying, this one is never in Nigeria. She's everywhere, right? But she still needs to maintain a presence. I believe you probably do you have someone managing this thing for you? Partially.
Like
but
that.
if let's say someone can reach out to Hannah with a killer proposal. Oh my, I can do this, I can do that. So that's why she's doing all the amazing things in her 9 to 5. She still has a popping personal brand, right?
Yes.
That is an opportunity. Then again, something else I did was to teach. Because at a point, I couldn't take all the offers coming. Oh, can you manage for me? I'm like, oh, wait, too. I could actually train other people because I now went ahead, polished that skill. I'm not a social media manager by profession or anything,
Definitely.
but she said something about learning. If she could, as busy as she is, took time to learn about this digital space, why not us? So what I did then was I polished my skill more on that. Now I did a training, my first virtual class. I had, I think, 42 people register. And then they paid, was it 3,000? That was the highest money I have had at this particular time. Maybe probably 200K. Who dashed me? My salary was 50K that time.
At the time.
Hey. So from social media, I even started making way more than my salary back in the days. So I did that class. That is another thing. Monetize your knowledge. Can you teach what you know? Right? That's another opportunity right there. But the mistake many people do is we jump into it. You see somebody from nowhere. You just want to teach about this. Hello, who are you? Do we know you? It's always better. What I would recommend, can you first start build
Credibility.
create an audience, teach us about that thing, right? Today now, if I have classes on finance, you have like 3,000 people, more than that register. It didn't happen like that. Now, this was me telling you that my first class was 42 people, right? So you build that audience. People are already posting, but can you add some intentionality to your posting? When you are posting, what is it about? Or you just post as a spirit lead.
And that's what makes all the difference when you can.
Exactly. Be intentional. If you now know that, oh, this is this person, when it comes to maybe finance, when it comes to health, when it comes to structuring, this is the expert there. That's how it starts. So yeah, I taught classes. I even one-on-one sections because at a point now, people will come to you, please, I need to do this. That's another way to monetize. Dropshipping, I have mentioned it. I used to sell hair. And I was in Owerri back. I've not even come to Lagos. But I was buying from suppliers in Lagos. I was selling to customers in Lagos. Dropshipping, I had no money.
It seems you've already even answered the question I was going for.
Okay, sorry. I was just...
No, you've answered
There's so
the
many
question.
opportunities. I don't know why
The
we are not
question
taking
was
advantage.
how to take advantage and
Yes.
make more money. I think you mentioned something about learning and leveraging what you already
okay.
know and combining that with your 9 to 5. And you talked about how you should also diversify and play to your strengths. That's something that you
I
both
like that
said
word, play to your
without
strengths.
saying it directly. Because I noticed that all the things you mentioned that you did to diversify your income were things that not just did you have passion for, but you could comprehend. Because even though you had to learn about it, you had an affinity for it. And that's what led
like
you
that.
to some kind of success in it. So I feel like, in a nutshell, what you've said basically is not only should you diversify, make effort to learn and build credibility. And that would also increase your overall output and yield. Just from a small conversation, you've touched on quite a lot of things. But before we move on to the next segment, I just want one last question as quickly as possible, if you can, because I feel like you would know this better than most. The one money myth that you've had to help people unlearn as quickly as possible. The one money myth you've had to help people unlearn. What people think they know about money, but in reality doesn't really apply.
I think most people feel that until you are earning millions, that you can save.
Okay.
And I think I touched on this earlier, that it's not about how much you're earning, but what you are doing with what you're earning.
Okay.
Right? And another thing is about not understanding what you need to do with your money. Knowledge is also something that people feel, oh, I can't manage money. You can manage money if you spend time to learn from those that know. There's no point reinventing the wheel. There's a lot of knowledge, even
Already
free
available.
knowledge, exactly, that is available. But are people being intentional, right, about learning? Because that's one of the ways that money management is about behavior. Earning is about taking action, right? And investment, multiplying money, is about knowledge. So, and anyone can understand that. So
Okay.
don't think that, oh, no, I'm too young to do that, or I don't have the knowledge.
Okay.
Yes, you need to learn and understand.
Okay. That's one money myth dispelled. How about you in your
Oh,
experiences?
everything she said. Everything she said. You don't have to wait to have plenty to start, because people usually think I'm big on investment. You see people saying, I don't have too much money. But what they don't realize is, they feel like it's for the rich people. But some of these people get rich because they started. Yeah, so everything she said.
Okay.
I agree.
So hopefully you've learned from that. And if you had any of those misconceptions, hopefully it has been treated. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, more practical money hacks for you. You're still listening to the Youth Empowered Podcast, brought to you by the Nigerian Bottling Company. Welcome back to Youth Empowered Podcast. We're trying to empower youth here, and this time we're talking about money and how to manage it. They say money is a terrible master, but a better servant. How does that saying go? At any rate, you have to master your money, so your money does not master you. Not too long ago, Jennifer, you mentioned how you have to, save and, use what you've learned to also leverage that income. So let's have some practical examples now. If I had, let's say, 10,000 naira and I put it in what they call a mutual fund, I like it to also break down what that means too. What could it look like in 5 years? For those who are thinking, okay, I don't have money now, this is what I have. What do I do with it?
Okay, I will let her take the from a youth perspective now.
Okay.
So let me take it from a retirement angle.
Oh, I like that.
Yes. Now, and this is practical, if you want to retire, let's say you are 20 and you want to retire at the age of 50 and you want to have, let's say, about 120 million as your retirement fund, right? You need to start saving about, let's say, 95,000 monthly at a modest rate of, let's say, 7%, right? You will get 120 million naira.
In the space of
about 30 years.
Wow.
Right? So that is the power of compounding, right? And your 20s and your 30s is your age is like the foundation. And
planting seeds.
Yes, if the foundation be broken, what can the righteous do, right? That you're laying your foundation, and I can even compare it to when you're at the backstage, right? Ready to showcase yourself. So everything you're doing at the background, right, will lead to that visibility, that applause, the celebration. But you need to do the work. If you don't do the work now, that you have the strength, you are young, right? And you're earning. You need to build that foundation now, because you will not always have the power. You will not always have the strength. Some of us did not start very early to do some things, but you have the opportunity now. Make hay while the sun is still shining.
Okay. In a nutshell, your 20s and 30s are for planting seeds, not showing off.
Exactly.
I love that. Thank you very much for that one, because I feel like a lot of people need to hold on to it, because the small money they make, the first thing is to show off on the gram.
I've arrived.
And you're nowhere, to be honest. You've not gone anywhere.
At all.
So tell us about mutual funds, savings platforms, co-ops, ETFs. Like,
oh, sure.
Earlier on, I said I have 10,000 naira. Because I want to come from the smallest unit of society now, not the 10 million naira.
There are 100 and something things you can do with 10,000.
Okay.
Amati says something about if you're trying to build for retirement, there are platforms or opportunities you could be putting your money in. And by the time you're ready to retire, the beautiful thing that we didn't pick from what she was saying is this: that 10,000, if you do the math, like 10,000 from now to whenever, for example, if it might give you like, let's say 50 million.
Okay.
But because you are investing it at a particular interest rate, instead of 50 million, you might have something like 200. You might have something like 300, depending on the interest rate environment. That's the beauty of compounding, like she said, right? So the question now would be like, what exactly should I invest this money in? I got you. So let's say I have 10,000 naira to invest. Okay, let's start with the mutual fund you mentioned.
Okay.
I will just list each one, what it means and how you can start it. Because the hope is that by the end of this conversation, people are taking action, not just hearing,
Listening,
right?
yeah.
So first of all, mutual fund is like a pool of funds. And the minimum is 5,000. So 10,000 is even big money for it, right? It's a pool of different funds. Let's say, Moses, you have 10,000. I have 5,000. Mati have 100,000. All of us bring the money together. Asset managers, we take that money, go and invest in things. But for beginners, I would recommend money market mutual fund. This one now is of a lower risk level because investment is also an aspect of risk. Before you go in, take time to understand, invest in learning. Mati mentioned that about trying to understand when she was talking about MIF, learning these things because when you have the knowledge, it doesn't feel like a big deal anymore. So that's on risk. So yeah, with mutual fund now, you can start with any amount from 5,000 and above. And for many platforms, it compounds on a monthly basis. Every month, you will get your interest. Now, if month one, I put in 10,000, at the end of the month, I got 500. That's 10,500. The next month, the interest is reading on 10,500 for me. And then next month, remember, I'll add another 10. That's now 20,500. By the time the month is up, maybe now you have like 21,000, 22,000. You keep compounding it that way. How do you invest in mutual fund? There are different platforms. Are we allowed to mention some of the platforms? There is Stanbic mutual fund, money market. The mutual fund is great. There's platforms like Cowrywise, right? Shall do your due diligence with any of the platform you want to go into, but it's for ease to show you where to start your research. There is Cowrywise that has mutual fund. There is Optimus by AfriInvest that have. In fact, this year alone, there was one particular one someone sent to me, Ethical Fund. It has done over 40%.
Wow.
I didn't know. And some of us, our money is in the bank doing nothing. Why? Right? Money market now comfortably pays you more than 20%. Where can you get that? That is one. There is the FGN savings bond. This one is with the government. For some people that will say, Jennifer, this platform, what if they crash? Don't worry, no excuses. The government options are also there. So with FGN savings bond, the federal government is trying to encourage us to save. Right? It's not because of our 10,000 that the government will run away now. So at least to an extent, your mind is at peace.
That's peace.
And this one comes up every month, usually first week of the month. So if you want to key in, if you know any broker like AfriInvest, West Africa, like there's so many brokerage houses, reach out to them that you want to do FGN savings bond, target the first week of the month, and it's 5,000 naira and above. So with your 10,000, it will take you far. That's another one. Second, another investment or the third investment, there are stocks. There are stocks you could invest in. The stock market, even the Nigerian stock market has been doing amazing things this year. That we were having conversation on MTN. MTN that started the year with like 200, now is 400 and something. That's like more than double of your money.
Yeah.
And it's not just MTN. Some of these companies are doing so well. UBA, Access, Zenith, some of these stocks are doing so well, but we do not know. And we stock, I said MTN, we bought it like now it's like 400 and something. Who we said they did not have 400 and? We have, but we did not know about this thing. So your 10,000 can get you far in some of these stocks. And it's not only the value growth, you are earning dividend. You feel like, with my 10,000, maybe dividend will come, it's 500. 500 is free money because with or without, that money is there. Do you not? And you might even spend it. That's the danger of not investing. Number one, it's not earning you anything. Number two, adulthood will happen. And that money, you feel like it's not too much. You spend it on things you don't even know about. So if you can explore stock, I would actually recommend stock for young people. This is for youth because the younger you are, the more advantage you have. Your age is your power for you, right? Because for the older ones, we want to be careful. There is school fees, there is house to build in the village. If anything happens to this money, because stock is relatively risky, medium to high risk. But if you're investing in solid companies, you don't have to worry. So you can explore these three: mutual fund, FGN service bond, and investing in stock. With 10,000, you can go far in any of these opportunities.
Okay. Wow. So I don't think you have any excuses now. From starting small to huge investments, I'm pretty sure you know what to do with your money now. I also like the part that at least those who don't trust, because that's one thing that people have with all these
trust issues.
You see it on social media where one has crashed and then you're like, my money is gone. So at least there's also the option of the government and all of that.
True.
So I feel like a lot of the things you've said has overlapped with the ideas I was looking for today, apart from just learning or positioning yourself mentally, what do you do? What is the first step? So now there's some other things that I feel like someone is probably watching and say, oh my God, I want to save this money, but my mother is always calling me. My loved ones at home. What am I going to do with this money? I can't keep it to myself. So real quick, there are things that are inevitable. The hand of God, the problems that come, and then I don't want to call it black tax, but also family members. How do you navigate savings cultures, budgeting and all of this when there are some things that you just can't control? Emergencies. What do you do in situations like that?
I really want to learn this one from Mama T.
Yes,
because it's after many of our lives. How do you manage black tax?
Well, for me, I think first and foremost, and I'll use this analogy, in the plane when you're traveling, they tell you to fix your mask first.
Yes.
Sure.
Before you fix the mask of even your child, right? Because if you don't get out of the water, there's no way you can save everybody.
Yeah.
And we also need to understand that you cannot save everybody. You can't. So first thing first, get yourself at least to a comfortable level. It also depends on individuals, right? The level of sacrifice that you're able to make. Yes, I know God rewards, but first and foremost, get yourself ready. Understand how much you're earning. Understand the non-negotiables, right? In terms of your survival and your maintenance expenses. Then after that, how much, and after taking out your savings, you need to budget for it. And budget is not a prison. It's just to understand where your money is going to.
Yeah, of course.
Right? And, that will give you the opportunity of planning. And please, I beg you, no is also an answer. A valid answer. Yes, I know in this part of the world it's a bit difficult, right? But let's learn to say no. No means next opportunity for the other person.
Oh, nice.
Right?
Lovely. Next opportunity.
And for you too, no means next opportunity. There will always be another opportunity. And there's a way of addressing it. You have to be kind. You have to be respectful, right? To decline, to say, okay, I cannot accommodate this now, maybe later. Or if somebody is asking for 20K, you can give, if it is 2,000 you have, please give. At least you have done something.
Okay.
Right? So those are some of the ways that we can address these things. But you have to be well first before you treat others.
Or you treat others. Okay.
Yes.
So no means next opportunity.
Yes.
No means no. Real quick to wrap it up, I believe that we've gotten a lot from that already. Just to wrap it up, I know people would have to pay to get this kind of information, but for someone who's watching now, they've taken a lot in. Can we just have a 6 to 12 month plan, money plan, just to wrap it up, to give us something that we can go and start doing now? So that when I leave this podcast, I'll pick up my phone and this is how I will start. If you can give us a 6 to 12 month money plan that we can use to at least begin the journey of turning our finances around, so we can wrap it up.
Okay. I think let's do it this way, in a budgeting way. Okay. I love that Mama T brought it up. She said something like, budgeting is not a bondage or a punishment. Okay. And that's the challenge with many of us. So let's do a typical example. What do you think is the average salary of a young person now?
If the ones that are lucky to attach themselves to the companies that actually prioritize the growth of the young people, let's say 150. But that is not the reality.
Oh, I started with 50K.
Some people start with 80. Yes, they start with 80, so 80 to 150.
Okay, so let's say 150, and let's try to build a simple budget. Okay. I love the 50-30-20 budgeting rule because it's simple to follow. A lot of people can understand. So using this budgeting rule now, with our 150K, it says 50%, which is like maybe 75 or thereabout, goes to the need. It's hard though. It's not easy, particularly if you are just starting. You are used to money enter, we flex it anyhow, and then these women are telling you, oh wait, you have to draw a plan. So this is how it's going to be every month. 75K. That is where the essential things. Oh, am I saving towards my rent? Because rent is not an emergency. You have to save for it monthly. So I don't know how much your rent is, but you can decide that out of this 75, maybe 30K of it. Do the maths. Your rent divided by 12. How much of it do you need to keep away? Yes. Oh, feeding for the month, transport. It's not easy. But as much as possible, try to give that structure to it. That's 50%. Now, the other one says 30%. 30, who's this calculator? 30% of that money goes to your wants. To the things that they are not that compulsory, but man, no come here to suffer now. It makes life a bit easier, right? So now with that 30%, you focus it on those things. What are those things that the mistake is that most people, more than 50% goes to their wants. Things that we can do without. Oh,
that bag, that shoe.
Yeah, so they say this skincare is out. You leave the old one you have. Bam, skincare. They say you have to look good. Hey, human hair. But you can do without these things, right? So, but having this plan that, hey, only 30%. Okay, what can I cut out? That's another thing budgeting does for you. That's where the 30% goes. Now, the remaining 20% is a powerhouse. That's the one that will take you out of that SAPA level, hopefully. This is not the one you try to grow, the one you save, the one you invest. We did example of things you can invest 10,000 on.
Yes.
Of course, for you, it's going to be more than 10,000. We're talking about 20% of 150K here now. So some of the investments you already mentioned, she says stock. Okay, let me go and read about this. Let me go and understand better. And that is where my 20% every single month. Trust me, if you started this year alone, by December, you'll be proud of yourself. Because initially, your 150 is not enough. You are struggling.
Really, yes.
But then you've been able to, every month, you take away that 20%. At the end of the day, you'll be like, you look at it. It feels powerful. Wow, let me get this. I have a community FinTribe. We save and invest together. Sometimes we run a 360 circle. At the end of the month, you withdraw your savings. So some people get these. If you see the messages, it's so beautiful because they do not know that they are able to do this. And that's what happens when intentionality comes in. So with this now, try it for 3 months. Try it for 6 months. See what happens. Number one, you notice that, oh God, it's hard though. I'm now using only 7% of my need, 50% of my need. It starts getting you, how do I make more money? It forces you to start thinking, what can I pick? What side hustle can I pick? Oh, they mentioned some of the side hustles they did. Can I do this? It pushes you to do more. That's one. Secondly, it brings some level of discipline to your money management. Because now, you can no longer eat shawarma every day. You can no longer turn up at every invite.
I feel personally attacked.
Let's not say anything. But really, that's what because you're sending your money to work. Unlike before, you were living on inshallah as a spirit lead.
And vibe.
So so if we can get this, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Yeah, some people might find it hard to even save 20%. Start with 15.
Okay.
Start with 10. Over time, you build the muscle. So that's what I would recommend for anyone looking to take action right away.
For those at the back, I thought na in bad pass.
And for those here, that your shawarma, take it easy.
Please now. This is because I told you my secret.
Did I call him?
Okay, thank you so much. I mean, it's clear that we've learned so much. So I just want a final note from you, ma'am. Off the air, you said something about how hope is not a strategy. So as a final takeaway, can you just help us crystallize everything?
Thank you so much. Hope is not a strategy, and generating money generally requires deliberate actions, and managing money is about your behavior. What are those behaviors that you are exhibiting? And multiplying money requires knowledge. And I want to say this, that for you to grow your money, you need time, you need people, and you need knowledge. So determine what you need at any point in time and take action. This is just an opportunity. An opportunity dances with those already on the dance floor. This is the dance floor.
Okay.
Thank you.
And on that note,
Give
rest
us.
our case. Thank you so much.
Nice.
Thank you so
What a
much, man. We really
strategy.
appreciate it. You want to leave us with a parting shot as well?
Oh, I'll just build it on what she said because I really love that. Hope is not a strategy. Nigerians are, let's hope for the best. Let's hope for this thing. So I feel like financial independence is not really a function of your salary or your income. It's more like your choice. She talked about taking action, right? Some people have made the choice, the decision that they want to earn more money. Now they're doing remote work, they're upscaling, they are investing. So yeah, it's more of a function of the choices and the decisions you make, not just your salary, because you can go beyond that.
You can go beyond that. Thank you very much for all you've said. We appreciate it. And I sincerely do hope the person watching right now, I know you've learned something, okay? Thank you very much once again.
Thank you, Moses.
Thank
you,
you.
Mama T. Always a delight to learn from you.
Always a pleasure. That's it for today on the Youth Empowered podcast. A big thanks to our guests for sharing such powerful insights. If you learned something new today, make sure to hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel and to catch the full episodes and follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We'd also love to hear from you. Share your money wins, your challenges, and of course, topic ideas with us on social media at Youth Empowered. Until next time, remember every small step you take today builds the future you want tomorrow. Thank you for being part of the Youth Empowered community. I am Moses Dickson. Until next time.